Good morning, children, and welcome to today's class. I hope you enjoy the online classes. Today, we are going to study about aquaculture, apiculture, and pisciculture. We will study all these in detail today. I hope you enjoy the class and you learn every day's lesson. Aquaculture. What is aquaculture? It is the rearing of economically important aquatic organism. What do we usually take? What type of seafood we usually take? Yes, fish. Fishes we eat. We love to eat fish, prawns, crabs. Okay, all these are seafood that we get, and you call that as aquaculture. Is the rearing of economically important aquatic organism. So we can export fish. We export prawns, we export crabs. This increases the economy of a country. Okay, so the study of this rearing of fishes and other aquatic organisms, what do you call it as? Aquaculture. Types of aquaculture. First one is freshwater aquaculture, marine water aquaculture. Fishes, prawns, all that are grown in the freshwater are called as freshwater aquaculture. And the fishes and prawns and other seafood that is grown in seawater, in marine water, you call it as marine water aquaculture. Pisciculture. Pisciculture is nothing but it is the farming of fishes under controlled condition. Pisciculture is the farming of economically important fishes that we eat. Okay, under controlled conditions. What do you call it as? Pisciculture. Okay, what are the types? What are the types of fish culture? Extensive fish culture. Intensive fish culture. What is extensive fish culture? Here fishes are grown reared in large scale. Okay, extensively we grow the rare fishes in large scale. Intensive fish culture is grown for in a small area. You can say it as intensive fish culture is rearing fish in a small area. Extensive fish culture is rearing fish in a big area. Okay, and what is meant by monoculture? What do you mean by monoculture? Monoculture is nothing but growing or rearing the same kind of fish in a pond or in a tank. Okay, mono means one type of fish is reared in a pond and you call that as monoculture. What is polyculture? Different kinds of fish grown in a pond. What do you call it as? Poly. Different fishes are grown in the pond and you call it as poly. Many. Okay, it is poly is many types of fishes are grown in the pond and you call it as polyculture. Integrated fish farming. What is integrated fish farming? This is actually done in Kerala. They in the field, okay, paddy field, they grow paddy as well as they rear fish. They grow fish also. Okay, in the same field, they grow paddy as well as they rear the fishes. So this is integrated fish farming. What are the types of fish culture? Extensive fish culture, intensive fish culture. And what are the types of rearing these fishes? Monoculture is one type of fish. If it is reared in a pond, you call it as monoculture. Poly means different types of fish are reared in one place. You call it as polyculture. And integrated fish farming is the place where you grow paddy field. In the field itself, you grow plants, that is crops, as well as you rear fishes. Okay. types of ponds for fish culture. What are the different types of ponds? The first one is breeding pond. So, healthy male and female fish is reared over here. All the healthy male and female fishes are reared here. And the female fish lays egg. And it is fertilized by the sperms of the male fish. And these eggs, you can see these eggs floating on the water like froth. Okay, on top like froth, it will float on the water. What is froth? Nora. Okay, so it is like the froth, it floats on the top of the pond. This is the place where they breed the fishes. So healthy male and female fish is allowed to live over here, and the female fish lays egg and it is fertilized, and it lays, these eggs are fertilized. Okay, and you can see these eggs floating on the water like froth. Now hatching pits. What is hatching pits? What do they do next? They transfer all these eggs into another pit, and you call that as hatching pits, where these eggs hatch into fry or small baby fishes. Okay, that is hatching pits. Okay, it requires safety. So they are transferred from the breeding pond to the hatching pits. All the eggs are transferred. Otherwise, the other fishes might eat away the eggs. So they are moved from the breeding pond to the hatching pits, where they are hatched. And then nursery ponds are ponds where again these hatched small fry fishes have to be moved to another pond called as nursery pond, where they are growing, where they grow. Okay, they need to mature, where they need to mature. Okay, and then from the nursery ponds they are moved to rearing ponds. For some weeks they will be in the rearing ponds, where they are fed with nutrients to grow. Finally, stocking ponds are ponds where they are kept until they are matured enough and they are ready for marketing. First one, breeding pond. They allow the healthy fishes to live over here. The female fish lay eggs, it gets fertilized, then hatching takes place in the next pond. Okay, the eggs are transferred from the breeding pond to hatching ponds, and from there to the nursery, where again they are allowed to grow. They are fed with the nutrients and allowed to grow. Rearing ponds is the place where they are reared. Again, they are reared over here, and finally they grow up big enough so that they can be sold. Okay, that is final stage, that is the stocking pond. All this refers to the breeding pond, hatching pond, the nursery, rearing pond, and then the stocking pond. Okay, so it represents the different places where the fishes are bred or you breed them. Cultivable food fishes. What are the types of fishes that we usually eat? Freshwater cultivable fish and marine water fish. Okay, mummy goes and buys fishes which is edible, which can be eaten by us. So freshwater fishes are there, and even we have marine water fishes which is cultivated or which is reared for eating purpose, for food purpose. Okay, cultivable food fishes are two types: freshwater fishes, marine water fishes. What is the nutritional value of fishes? It is rich in protein. So we take fish or seafood often into our diet. We add it into our diet because it is rich in protein, and then it is rich in amino acids, and it is rich in minerals like calcium, phosphorus, iron, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Okay, they are rich in amino acids such as lysine and methionine and polysaturated fatty acids and other minerals. That is why we take fish or seafood in a diet rich in protein and other minerals. Prawn culture. Okay, what is prawn culture? Do you like to eat prawns, children? Yes. Okay, most of us like to eat prawn. One of the most economically important shellfish resources of India are prawns. Lots of prawns are exported to other countries from India. Okay, so economic of a country is increased by exporting prawns. Okay, so prawn culture plays a very important role in the economy of our country. It is exported to other countries. Types of prawn culture. Again, marine water prawn culture, freshwater prawn culture. You must have seen, if you've gone to the places near the seashore, you must have seen big ponds where they grow or where they rear prawns. Okay, so marine water prawn culture and freshwater. Some prawns are grown in freshwater, okay, and some prawns are grown in seawater. Marine is seawater. So growing of these prawns, okay, in marine water you call it as marine water prawn culture. Growing of prawns in fresh water, what do you call it as? Freshwater prawn culture. Methods of prawn culture. What are the different methods? One is seed collection and hatchery method. That is, the eggs of the prawns are collected and they are reared in a pond, specially protected pond, where they hatch and grow. Okay, that is seed collection and hatchery method. So the eggs of these prawns are reared or placed in one pond where they are allowed to hatch and they grow into big prawns. Paddy cum prawn culture. So I already told about integrated method of growing paddy as well as prawns. Okay, these are two types of things are served over here. One, you can grow paddy, and the other one is you can rear prawns in the same field. So paddy cum prawn culture. Next, what is meant by vermitechnology? What is vermitechnology? Vermitechnology is nothing but vermiculture involves the artificial rearing and cultivation of earthworms, growing earthworms. Okay, why do we need these earthworms? Because the compost that is produced by the earthworms can be used as manure. It can be used as manure. See, these earthworms, when you grow these earthworms, it converts bio waste into nutrient rich organic manure. Okay, by using earthworms. So it converts bio waste into nutrient rich organic manure. What do we do here? See here, we have already seen how compost are being made. You have to just, if you have a space in your house, dig a pit, put all the plant waste, the vegetable waste, all this can be put into the pit and covered with soil. After many days, what happens to the soil? All this gets decomposed and it gets converted into organic manure, organic fertilizer. So when these earthworms are added to the soil, what it does is it eats or it feeds on these waste, and then the excreta of the earthworm is rich in nutrient, and that can be used as a organic fertilizer. So you grow earthworms for what purpose? What do you call it as? Vermiculture. And what do you do? What do you mean by vermicomposting? You add these earthworms to the soil, which has all these waste products, okay, organic waste products. It eats the organic waste products, and the excreta that is given that comes out of the earthworms are rich in nutrients. That is used as a manure, natural manure for the plants to grow. Yes. Okay, next is apiculture. What is apiculture? You must have heard all these names. Apiculture is nothing but study about honey bees. Okay, what are the types of honey bees? There are 3 types. You have learnt in lower classes. Queen bee. Okay, queen bee is the female bee which lays eggs. Okay, drone bee. What is drone bee? It's the male bee. Okay, female bee is the queen bee which lays the eggs, and it is fertilized by the drone bee. And workers bee, what do? They go out and collect nectar. Okay, they go out and collect nectar. Okay, nectar is rich in dextrose and sucrose. Okay, it is very good for our health. What are the 2 types of honey bees? Indigenous varieties and exotic varieties. Indigenous are Indian and exotic are the foreign bees. Okay, indigenous bees are Indian bees and exotic bees are foreign bees. So 3 types of bees: queen bee, drones and the worker bee. Queen bee is the female, drone is the male bee. Worker bees, what is the work of the worker bee? They go and collect nectar. Yes, nectars, and then they are taken into the nectar sac in the abdomen of the bee, and then it is converted into honey. Finally, the uses of honey. Have you all tasted honey, children? Yes, it is very tasty, isn't it not? And it has medicinal values. The first medicinal value is it can be used as an antiseptic and antibacterial. Antiseptic, it can be used as an antiseptic. Okay. Second, it can increase the hemoglobin content of our body. Honey, we are asked to take honey along with the food. It increases the hemoglobin content of our body, in our body. Third one, it is useful for digestion, and it increases the appetite. Appetite is the hunger. It increases the hunger. It is used for digestion, and it is also used to increase the appetite. Next, it cures ulcers in tongue, stomach and intestine. It cures ulcers in tongue, stomach and intestine. It is used in Ayurvedic and Unani medicine, and finally it is used for cough. Have you experienced your mother giving you honey along with hot water or milk when you cough? And it is used for cold and for fever. Okay, children, I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and there is so much that we have learned in today's lesson. Okay, see you in the next class. Bye.